Hi guys, in this video I'm going to share with you the smallest YouTube declutter ever. If you would like to know what makeup items that I have decluttered out of my makeup stash, please keep watching. Hi guys, Ange here. Thanks for joining me on Angela Stuart Beauty, where I like to share my experiences on all things beauty and lifestyle as I navigate my more mature years. If that sounds like you, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button down below. I would love to see you back, and if you'd like to be notified when I upload any new videos, don't forget to click on the notification bell so that YouTube can let you know. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day today to watch one of my videos, and thanks to all the wonderful women who come back week after week. I truly appreciate you and so enjoy the comment section down below. Now, I have said on many occasions that I love to keep my makeup collection to a very pared down collection of items that I will use on a regular basis. I have mentioned also that I don't tend to do favourites videos a lot because I stick to my core favourites, and they are what I use day after day in my routine and what I reach for quite often on a regular basis. I feel for somebody who does YouTube videos and who loves makeup as much as I do, that I do have quite a conservative makeup collection, and I'm quite proud of that. Recently I decided that there are a few things that I need to address, and that is that I want to stop buying certain products because I've got a lot in my collection. I'm going to try and curb my purchases on bronzers, as I have a ton in my collection, blushes, and mainly face products. I've got a ton of highlighters, I've got blushes, I've got bronzers. So all of those sorts of products, I'm going to try and curb any spending in those areas, as I've got plenty to use and I really want to use them, and they're beautiful products. My weakness does come down to eyeshadow palettes, and I definitely do not need to buy more eyeshadow palettes. It is tough sometimes to sit back and go, no, I'm not going to get that. And I have got a bad habit of repurchasing a lot of similar shades. They are all my neutral colours though, and I wear neutral shades similar to what I'm wearing now on a regular basis. So I do make an exception for that because I know that they will get used. A palette that I bought recently that I was disappointed in, and it was a pricey palette, was the Natasha Denona bronze palette. I haven't decluttered that, and I'm not sure if I'm going to. Not because I don't dislike the palette as far as quality and the shades go. My only disappointment from it was that it didn't matter, I felt, which shades I used. The warm shades were all extremely similar. I did appreciate in this palette the neutral matte shades, the transition shades, and some of the shimmers, but they really did, I find, create very similar looks, and was probably a palette I did not need to purchase and have in my collection. But for the time being, it is staying in my collection. It's not a love though, that's all I want to say. Now, in saying that, the latest Natasha Denona palette that is about to be launched, probably has launched already, but isn't available yet here in New Zealand, is the Glam palette. And I can't wait to get this palette because it's so up my alley. Wanting to get that, and at the moment that is the only desire I have to add to my collection, and I am quite thankful for that. Okay, so I have gone through my collection in the last few weeks, and decluttered a handful of items. I've got cutaways for these because I put them on our site in New Zealand, and I have already sold these items and moved them out of my collection, but I took wee clips of them before they were sent out. So here is what I have moved on and why. The first item is a Natasha Denona item, and it is the Natasha Denona Bronze Tan palette. As much as this palette is gorgeous and the quality amazing, I was not reaching for it. I found the highlight colour in here way too warm, and whenever I popped it on my cheeks, I felt like I had orange stripes on my cheeks. It was not a highlighting colour for me. The bronze colour was absolutely beautiful, but I didn't need this whole palette when I've got a bunch of other bronzers in my collection that I love and reach for on a daily basis. So this palette has left my collection. Something that I found very interesting is the amount of Huda beauty products that I have moved on. The first eyeshadow palette was the Huda Beauty Coral Obsessions. I actually really enjoyed this palette. I have done a video using this palette and it was gorgeous. I just wasn't reaching for it because they were just a little bit bright for the sorts of looks that I like to use on an everyday basis. So I decided, whilst it was still fairly new, that it was best to move it on and let someone else enjoy it. So this has left the building. Another Huda Beauty eyeshadow palette that has been moved on is the Mauve Obsessions palette. As much as I liked this palette, I did feel very made up when I made the video look using this palette, that I found I probably would not reach for it. So I used it once for the video and I decided that I was never probably going to use it again. I had other palettes that had more subtle, subdued mauvey shades in it that I would reach for far more easily than reaching for this palette. Also, I used one of my Sonia G eyeshadow brushes in this palette and I cannot get the stain out of that brush from using this palette. So that goes to show just how pigmented it was, but I didn't think I was going to reach for it again, so I have moved that palette on. Another eyeshadow palette from Huda Beauty that I did move on was the Nudes Palette. I just found I was not reaching for this. I would much rather pick up my Tarte Aspen Ovard palette and other palettes that I had with similar colours. I was just reaching for that more. I actually felt these shades came out quite pinky on me, and I've got some Charlotte Tilbury 12 pan palettes that I can get a much more neutral pink look from, so I moved this shadow palette on as well. The Huda Beauty Tan Tour. I think this was my fault for getting the wrong colour. I got the shade medium and I think I should have got the shade light, as this was just too dark for my skin tone, and did enjoy the product. I did find it a little hard to blend. It wasn't as smooth to blend as some other contour products that I have, so that was quite an easy option to move this one on. A palette I didn't think I would get rid of was the Colourpop Whatever palette, and I decided, with all the wonderful neutral shades that I'm reaching for lately, the Whatever palette was probably just a little bit too rich for me, that I probably wouldn't reach for again. I'm going more for these sorts of tones in my eyeshadow looks, and just felt the Whatever palette was just a bit too impactful for what I think I'm going to be reaching for in the future. So as much as I love the shades in here, I didn't think I was going to reach for it as much as I would other palettes, so I've moved it on. The Anastasia Beverly Hills bronzer I got. Now this is the problem with not being able to see shades for yourself. I got this in the shade Rich Amber, and it was too dark for me. It just was quite muddy on my skin, so I've moved this on. I really needed to get a lighter shade. Absolutely love the product itself. The powder blended beautifully. It was just the wrong colour for me, so I'm not going to have it in my collection if I'm not going to use it. And then last but not least, I've got two foundations. Now the first foundation is this Wonder Beauty foundation. I had great hopes for this. I should have taken notice of the fact that it had arrived absolutely munted in the packaging with all the foundation all over the inner box and everything, but I cleaned it up and decided to keep it because I thought it would be a winner. Unfortunately, this created quite a cakey, heavily made up makeup look that on my more mature skin just made me look more aged than I needed to be. No one wants to look older than they are, so I've actually passed this foundation on to my daughter, and hopefully she'll like it. She likes a full coverage foundation because she's having a lot of trouble with acne at the moment, and hopefully this will work for her. And the last item that I have got rid of, this was a brand new tube of this foundation, and it's the L'Oreal foundation, and it is very, very matte, very heavy coverage, and I found was just too matte, too heavy coverage for my mature skin, and was just making me look a bit older than I wanted to look. I am going for more of the not true luminous, but I definitely don't want full matte anymore. I want more of a satin with a slight glow, just to enhance my more mature skin. And I have got some foundations that are working just beautifully at the moment, and I don't need anything in my collection that is just going to make me look older. Now this was a repurchase because I have used it in the past and absolutely loved it, and I had purchased it and it was a backup and decided I didn't want to use it anymore, so I've given this one to my daughter as well. I'm going to take you through briefly and show you my collection and how I'm trying to keep it really condensed down and of a minimal nature, and doing these small little culls every now and then are really going to help me achieve that. The only items that I do want to purchase on a regular basis is my top priority is skincare. I'm always going to get suckered in with a nice new eyeshadow palettes that come out, and I am also going to be replacing eyeliners and mascaras. The lipsticks, I've got so many lipsticks that I just want to use up what I've got, and I use mainly all neutral shades anyway, so I just want to use up what I've got as well as all the other shades I've got. So the products that I'm going to continue to buy on a regular basis is going to be my skincare, foundations, powders for setting because I'm always going to need them, and concealers. And then after that I'm always going to be sucker punched by my eyeshadows, and I really do think that that is what will keep me going and letting me use up what I already have in my makeup stash. So let's go and have a look what I've got left in my makeup stash. So going into my little makeup area, and what I have here is my little vanity table with the big mirror, my Ricky Skinny, have my makeup brushes on the top, these drawers, I have my foundations, powders and concealers, and in this drawer I have mini eyeshadows, lipsticks and mascaras, etc. As you can see, I don't need any more lipsticks, so I want to use up what I've got. Then down below I have all my palettes, eyeshadow palettes, my highlighters, bronzers, blushes, everything down here, and I really don't need to purchase any more of these things, so trying to be good there. And then I'm even being good with my skincare. This is my skincare collection. I've got it down to quite a minimal size, and just really want to focus on good skincare, keeping everything minimal, which is why I'm going to be doing regular mini declutters. Okay guys, so by just doing these small little declutters and small culls every now and then, I hope to keep my collection to a really curated little collection that doesn't get out of hand and that I can appreciate everything I own. If you enjoyed that guys, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments down below, do you do regular sort of turnover and declutters of your collection? I would love to hear how often you do that. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it if you would click on the subscribe button. I would love to see you back in future videos. Don't forget to click on that notification bell so that YouTube notifies you when I upload new videos. I hope you've all had a beautiful and a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you next time. See you later guys. Bye.